Welcome to Dodgers Daily. Casey Porter here. So glad that you decided to tune in. Fans, today we have a very, very, very special guest. Big, tall, long drink of water. Right-handed pitcher, prospect in the Dodgers organization. Seamus Barrett, better known as Moose, joins Dodgers Daily. So Seamus, tell us where you're at right now. First of all, welcome in. Tell us where you're at.
I'm up in Maine, just working in the off season, and it's pretty cold up here, pretty dark, unfortunately.
How in the world do you play baseball in Maine, dude?
A lot of indoor stuff, not a lot of outdoors right now.
What's the temperature outside? Is it snowing?
No, it's like 30s though. We haven't got too much snow yet, luckily. But
oh, that's not too bad. Okay, yeah. So I want to start with a light moment for you. You were from Arlington, Massachusetts, which is just outside of Boston, and you went to Louisville out of high school. And your first year there, you got to play with Dalton Rushing. And you being a pitcher, him being a catcher. Of course, you also had Henry Davis at that time, too. So he wasn't the everyday catcher at that point. But what do you remember about Dalton Rushing, the Dodgers' #1 prospect back then?
Yeah, I mean, he was a lot of the same guys I've seen since I've got to the Dodgers. Has everyone's seen since he's been with the Dodgers. Really hardworking guy. Good leader, and I mean, he was stuck behind Henry Davis that first year, which is obviously a tough position to be in. He was very talented as well, but he was a leader through his work ethic and just leader by example. Always working really hard and very high standards for himself. Not somebody you want to be around if he strikes out and comes back to the dugout. He's really intense and really high standards for himself, but he's a really good guy and a very hard worker.
Yeah, absolutely. Demands a lot out of his pitchers too. So I'm sure you've answered this question a million times in your lifetime, but where'd you get the nickname Moose?
I was like 12 or 13, I think, and one of my pitching coaches, Seamus is a weird name. It's like Irish, and everyone wants to say Seamus or something else. And so Seamus became Seamus, Moose, and then just shortened. So everyone thinks it's because I'm a pretty big guy, but I wasn't even very big back then. Just came from the name, so stuck with me.
Well, you're 6'7" now, right? Do I got that right?
Yeah.
Okay, and a splitter.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, man, that thing must, to hitter, just seem like it's falling out of the sky.
Yeah, I got really lucky with that one. It was, I was always, for years and years and years, my whole baseball career, I'd struggle with the changeup, and I couldn't get any movement on it, really. I would try to over-pronate it, and it wouldn't come out the way I wanted it to. And I was in the transfer portal one off-season, and my old travel baseball coach Steve August kept calling me and telling me, we have this coach Ace Adams you have to come work with. I play for this program in New England called the New England Roughnecks, and this pitching coach was working with them at the time. So I went to go throw a bullpen with him, and he just gave me this one splitter grip and was like, hey, try this. And the first one I threw, just the bottom fell out of it and it dropped, and I was like, okay, that might be the solution to the problems I've been looking for. So scrapped the changeup and just been mostly fastball splitter ever since. And it's really been a great pitch for me because my fastball gets a lot of ride and carry on it, and the splitter's been able to just do the opposite and have the bottom kind of drop out of it. So I was lucky.
Are you able to throw it out of the same tunnel, or is it like two entirely separate deals?
No, I mean, I throw it exactly the same as I throw my fastball. I just pretty much spread the fingers and put my thumb on the side of it instead of putting my thumb on the bottom of it. And I don't think anything different other than the fastball, and it falls.
So 6'7", what are your extension numbers? Do you know those?
I think it's about 6'7", 6'8". It's nothing crazy, but I get down the mound a decent amount. But
yeah. So the velo numbers, where are they at right now?
I've been up to 98, 99 range, but usually sit around 6'7". So.
Oh, wow. You sit 6 or 7. Wow. That's fantastic, Seamus. Okay. So you sit 6 or 7 now. Is that where you want to sit when you become major league ready, or do you still feel like there's still a little bit left to go there?
I mean, I feel like I have a lot of room left to grow. Every year I've played baseball, I've significantly upticked. Even from the college season to the draft season last year, I went up a lot. So I think and the amount of information the Dodgers have given me and like all the great stuff they've given me that I've never even heard before, I feel like is going to have a huge impact. So, I mean, I'm not going to put a ceiling on it. I hope I can sit in the 99 to 100 range by the time I'm major league ready. That would be great.
Still have your slider and curveball?
The curveball is not it's a little slow for this level hitters. I used to throw it from like 73, 74, so a little bit of a moonball surprise pitch, but it was almost an ephus. But yeah, maybe I'll mix it back in every now and then, but it's not really there yet. And working on changing the slider shape. The slider's not been the most consistent, but working on a nice hard gyro slider to work in with the splitter and have a real third pitch there. Should be nice.
So you've done both the starter thing and the reliever thing. I got to ask, I mean, that splitter has to be a real feel heavy pitch. So how do you come right out of the bullpen and have to execute right away with no real time to get settled into a game and be able to execute that splitter pitch?
Yeah, I mean, I think it just comes with knowing how to get myself ready in the bullpen and knowing how to get all my pitches ready and preparing myself and giving myself the right amount of time to get out there. And I always hated the bullpen coming up into this last college season. I really wanted to avoid it, but I had some really good experiences in the past college season, and I found that I actually really liked the adrenaline of running into big situations with all the pressure on having to make pitches immediately to get your team out of stuff. So I think that's where the Dodgers see me going in a bullpen role, and I really do enjoy that competitiveness of just coming in late in the game when everything's on the line and having your teammates have to trust you to get the job done.
Nothing like bringing in a 6'7" dude that's throwing splitters dropping out of the sky, man. That's awesome.
Yeah. Hopefully.
Okay, so do you have a preference on like what song you want them to play whenever you're coming out to bring your relief performance in?
I don't know yet. That's a big question. I'm gonna have to think about that one before the season. I've had a couple in college, but yeah, definitely go with the new one this coming year. Okay,
very good. So Nick Frasso is from Loyola Marymount as well. He went to school there. Of course, you went to Louisville first. You transferred to Loyola Marymount there in the LA area. And so he's a big, tall, long dude like you, very projectable. Different styles as far as pitch mixes go. You both have the high riding forward seam, but have you heard any of those comparisons?
Yeah, actually, when I was in the transfer portal, the coach who recruited me to Loyola Marymount, Nathan Choate, he was Frasso's pitching coach there, and that was one of his recruiting pitches to me. He's like, I see a lot of him in you. I was dumb. I didn't even know who he was at the time, but he's like, I see a lot of Nick Frasso in you, a tall guy with a live arm who can get some outs. And I mean, that's a compliment to even be compared to him. He's got some really nasty stuff. But yeah, I have heard the comparisons once or twice, and I hope to be able to live up to that. He's a really good dude and a great pitcher.
You ever had a chance to reach out to him since you both went to LMU and both are Dodgers now?
Yeah, I actually met him once or twice when I was at LMU, and then he was rehabbing at the complex after the draft, so I got to talk to him a decent amount at Arizona.
So how'd we end up at Louisville? How'd we end up at Loyola Marymount?
So when I was in high school, I didn't really know what I wanted to do. I was I didn't have a whole lot of offers. I was just trying to figure it out. And Louisville came out of the woodwork at the very last second with an offer to go walk on there. And I took that opportunity, and they really helped shape me into the person that I am. And I'm really appreciative of the opportunity that they gave me. It was an awesome chance they were all about competitiveness and toughness in that program. And I feel like it really had a big impact on me. But there was a lot of good pitchers there. And if you mess up once, somebody's there to eat your lunch. So it was hard to get opportunities, and I hit the portal just looking for somewhere that could develop me a little bit more and look to me more as the guy and give me more opportunities. And LMU really stepped in there, and I had 2 great seasons there, and I loved it. So I just got lucky with everywhere that I went. Both places were great, and both helped me become who I am today and gave me the opportunity to get drafted.
Mom and Dad probably weren't too excited about it, though, because it's like literally exactly across the world, right?
Yeah, just impossible for them to get to games. It's not the ideal choices for me to make. But, I mean, It's definitely hard to play in New England as well. I kind of wanted to I thought it would be nicer weather in Louisville. I was completely wrong about that. I was like, oh, it's the South. I've never been there. I went down there, and it was just snowing all season. So that was a mistake on my part. So I just went even further south to get
awesome. Okay, so being in the LA area for part of your college career, do you feel like that kind of gave you an advantage with the Dodgers for their a lot of their scouts and their front office guys live in LA? So I mean, it's just a short drive just to go see this guy, Seamus Barrett, who's 6'7", throwing a split finger. Do you feel like that gave you an advantage at all?
Yeah, it might have. I don't really know how their whole scouting process works exactly, but I know Tom Myers, who's the local LA area scout. He always would reach out to me throughout the season, and he was a really great guy and came to my games. And I got the opportunity to go to a workout at Dodger Stadium right before the draft and get seen by a lot of those people because I was in the SoCal area, which was awesome. Throwing on the mound at Dodger Stadium, that was like one of the coolest things I've ever been able to do. I thought I threw terribly. I thought it was an awful workout, and somehow I still managed to get drafted, which was lucky. But yeah, I don't know to what extent being in the SoCal area helped me out, but I'm lucky to be a Dodger, and I'm glad it worked out the way it did.
That's the exact same arc as Alec Gamboa. Alec Gamboa was at the Fresno City College JUCO there in the Fresno area, and they invited him to come do that same workout you're talking about, and they offered him the exact same way you did it. So that's really cool to hear that. So 10th round of the draft last summer. So got to know all about your draft day, what it was like whenever you heard your name, and how that went for Seamus Barrett.
Yeah, it was pretty crazy. I mean, I'd been in contact with the Dodgers a lot. They were probably one of the teams that had been most in contact with me. So I had a little bit of an inkling that might lean that way. But yeah, it was a lot of anxiety and a lot of not knowing what's going to happen and just hopefulness. And up here in this town in Maine that I live in now, we really don't have good cell service at all. Like, there's nowhere I can get calls. The only place I could get calls was the local high school. So I'm sitting in my car at the local high school the entire day, just like looking at my phone, watching the draft tracker, just sitting in my car with my mom and my girlfriend. And then the 8th or 9th round came around, and I got a call saying that the Dodgers were going to take me, and is still waiting. And and then my name came across the thing in the 10th round, and we were running around the parking lot like crazy people celebrating. I think there was like a girls' high school lacrosse practice going on right next to us, and they were all looking at us like we had something wrong with us. But yeah, it was an awesome day. It was really fun.
They didn't waste any time to get you to affiliated baseball. They sent you up to the Quakes pretty quick. What was that like for you, that turnaround?
Yeah, I mean, I was ready for it. I had been told by some people that you'll be better off if you can prepare yourself to get going right away from the jump. And I didn't throw too many innings in college, so before the draft, I was all the way ramped up. I was throwing bullpens, I was throwing live sessions, and then the draft came. And instantly, right after the draft, I threw some bullpens. I threw some bullpens, and they saw that I was pretty much ready, and they threw me in a couple Bridge League games to see some live hitters, and then sent me off to Rancho. So I was lucky to get going and get some minor league experience under my belt before my first full season coming up here.
What was it like getting to pitch underneath Sean Coyne and Ramon Troncoso? Those two dudes are awesome.
Yeah, really great guys. And just getting to learn from everybody in the Dodgers area, like the amount of baseball knowledge just around at all times is insane. I don't want to get overwhelmed with stuff, so I don't try not to ask too much, but I like to just pick their brains and listen to stuff they have to say, because there's a lot of great baseball knowledge around at every level. And yeah, Coyne and Tronky are awesome and just help so much with the mechanical stuff and also the mental side of just dealing with minor league baseball, and having been there before, they know a lot of stuff. So, yeah.
So I've heard you talk about over-pronating the changeup, so the split finger felt good. I've heard you talk about the high-riding fastball. I have not heard you talk anything about like numbers on a TrackMan or Rapsodo or any kind of that deal. So is this all a feel deal for you, or do you use the TrackMan to figure out, okay, well, my ball's not dropping like it should, or this kind of deal? How's that work for you?
Yeah, I mean, it's not a day-to-day thing. I don't do it all the time and nitpick and stuff. I'm really more about the mental side and the competitiveness between me and the hitter, but I definitely use it on a bigger scale in the off-season and stuff for pitch design and stuff. My slider, mostly, it's been really my pitch and development, trying to get that third pitch ready. So I really am using the TrackMan a lot for that, to try and fine-tune that exactly where I want to. But I think there's definitely a role for it, and I think there's a little bit where guys can get too into all that stuff, and we have, as I said, some of the greatest coaches with the Dodgers that can pick that stuff apart for me, and give that to me in a way that's digestible and easy for me to comprehend. So I'm not looking at all these different numbers and trying to figure it out myself. They just tell me, put your hand this way, because they've seen the numbers and they've interpreted it in a way that can help me. So, I mean, That's great. And that's all I need.
One thing that's great about the Dodgers is that they give you suggestions, not necessarily demands. And then they give you the ability to breathe enough to where you can go out there and figure out how to become your best version by failing over and over and over. And they don't judge you for it, and they let you keep doing it until you figure out how to be the best version of yourself. So first of all, how has that experience gone for you? And then what adjustments have the Dodgers made with you?
Yeah, they didn't make too many adjustments with me, just because it was a little bit of a shortened season, but just a lot that I was really stiff before and not using my spine and a lot of other things in my body. So just a lot of drill work and stuff to kind of open that up a little bit. And just kind of get into some positions and motions that I haven't really been doing before. So that was all great. And just the support of, even if you fail, like I had a couple outings in Rancho where I was just really down on myself after, like just too many walks, just not competitive, and I was just not feeling great after. And as you mentioned, Coin and Troncoso were great about that, and just like, hey, like, it's about your development. It's not about necessarily winning games at the low A level right now. It's about you getting better and learning from this and continuing to process that and move on. So yeah, just the support system's been great, and really couldn't ask for anything better.
You mentioned you're in Maine, which is a long ways away from Los Angeles, which is where you finished your season last year and where you played your college baseball. But other than where you're at, tell us about your off-season routine, all the things you're doing, maybe some of the adjustments you're making, and some of your goals moving into 2025.
Yeah, I'm really just listening to what the Dodgers have to say on all this because they're the experts. So I got my whole strength program from minor league strength coordinator Carl Cochan, who's amazing. He gave me this full program that takes like 5 hours to do. There's so much stuff in it, but not actually 5 hours. It's a good 2.5 hours before I'm out of the gym though. So it's a long day every day getting all this stuff done, but it's awesome because I feel like I'm really getting better. And yeah, I drive 40 minutes to an indoor place where I can throw and lift and all that stuff. And that's been awesome. And yeah, just using all the Dodgers information they have to really open up my weaknesses and try and attack those in the off season and see how much that can help me in the season.
All right, Seamus, that's all the business I got for you. Ready to answer some fun questions?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, here's my first fun question. First of all, how many hours of daylight do you get in Maine, America? And then what do you do for fun?
Hours of daylight, it feels like about 3. It's probably realistically like 6 or 7, but it feels like as soon as I wake up, it's already getting dark. And yeah, for fun right now, I don't know, just hanging out with friends, just trying to see some people that I haven't seen because I've always been away for college and baseball and stuff. So I haven't had this much time off since high school probably. So it's nice to have a little bit of time to just relax, get after it in the weight room, and catch up with people and stuff. So watch some movies. So.
Yeah, you were in Rancho whenever Cameron Decker had his 10 RBI game. And then also that same game, Kenny George had 5 hits, and they were like going back and forth. So my question for you is, what's more impressive, a Cameron Decker home run or watching Kenny George run around the bases?
That's the toughest. That's the toughest decision you could have me make. They're both incredibly impressive in their own ways. Personally, I'm a little partial to home runs, so I love watching a Decker bomb just go over everything in the background and just into nowhere. But yeah, they're both incredibly talented people, and just level of talent everywhere in the minor leagues is crazy to watch. It's just nothing like everyone was the best where they were before coming there. And it's really something to see just all these people who are all so talented playing on one field together.
You ever taken the time to look around your surroundings at Quake Stadium there at Lomard Field and just kind of, wow, I can't believe I'm really doing this. Just a dude from Massachusetts, right?
Yeah, just so grateful. It's so awesome. I remember I loved minor league baseball as a kid. I would go to some minor league Red Sox games up here. I went to some game. I would in
Pawtucket?
No, I went to. They have the Portland Sea Dogs up here in Maine, and then I went to some Lowell Spinners games. I don't think they're an affiliate anymore. But yeah, and then me and my dad would travel sometimes for baseball tournaments, and I would go to minor league games all around the country, and I thought they were like the coolest people ever. And now, I'll see a kid come up and ask me for an autograph. I'm like, why do you want my autograph? I'm nobody. But I can remember being that kid, and it's just awesome, the opportunity to play in some of these stadiums and some of these places and have this opportunity. So really grateful.
Okay, you grew up in Arlington, Massachusetts, 15 miles from Boston. So you grew up a diehard Boston Red Sox fan, right? So my question is, have you seen the show on Netflix, The Comeback, and what'd you think of it?
Yeah, I watched it. It was awesome. I've grown up my entire life hearing about the 04 team and watching everything there is to know about that. And my whole family was big Red Sox fans. So, yeah, it was cool to watch. But I've definitely traded in my Red Sox hat for a Dodgers hat. I'm no longer on that boat. But I got to say, it was extra nice to have it be the Yankees, the other team in the World Series this year, and watch them lose. Love to see the Yankees lose always.
I got to ask you, too, before you watched that show, now I got to be honest with this here, Seamus, before you watched that show, did you have any idea that the Los Angeles Dodgers manager, Dave Roberts, actually had a huge part in that?
Yeah, I did. I knew everything about the 04 World Series. My family's all about that. And I actually played with Dave Roberts' son, Cole, when I was at Loyola Marymount. So,
oh, wow. Yeah. Awesome. Hey, what's the best piece of advice you've ever gotten from anybody that's not your parents?
I would say my coach I talked about earlier, my first coach at Loyola Marymount, Nathan Choate, he was talking to us one time. He wasn't me specifically, but he was talking to our whole team and mostly the pitching staff, and he was saying, if you don't believe in yourself, nobody else will believe in you. And that really stuck with me because, I mean, that's really important as a pitcher. If you have any self-doubt or anything that you haven't snuffed out and you don't fully believe in yourself, the fielders behind you will feel it, and the hitter against you in the batter's box will feel that, and they'll snuff that out really quickly and take advantage of that. And you have to fully be confident in yourself and believe all the way in yourself that you can succeed, and then everyone else will follow and success will follow. So I think that's just really important.
You ran track in high school, correct?
Yeah.
So got to know the events. And I got to know, was that actually something that was fun, or is that just something that you feel like you needed to do to stay in shape?
I honestly wish I never did it. It was the worst thing ever. Nothing is fun about track. I have all the respect in the world for those people who can do that. It is just pain all the time. But I ran the 600. It was indoor track, so it was 3 laps around the track, so 1.5 of a regular track. But yeah, I mean, I thought I needed to stay in shape. I thought it would help me stay in shape. And at the time I was like 6'6", 170. I was like a rail. Like I had no weight on me. And I was like, why can't I gain weight? And I'm running every day. So that was stupid. I shouldn't have been running track at all, but it was fun. It was fun spending time with my friends. That was probably the one good thing about track, just running in practice with my friends. But I mean, other than that, all the respect to the runners out there, but that is a tough sport. I'm not a fan.
One thing I've never seen is somebody running and smiling at the same time. That tells me all I need to know right there, right?
Yeah, nobody's having fun. It's the worst.
No, absolutely not. No way. Okay, if you could pick one day of your life to relive over and over, which one would it be and why?
I mean, maybe draft day. That was one of the best days of my life. Just being able to experience that, just all the work in my entire life paying off in that one moment. I mean, that was really something special. So I'll say that.
All right. I always ask this question of anybody who's ever played for your wonderful manager there at Rancho Cucamonga, John Shoemaker. Have you ever seen Shoe out of uniform?
Yeah, I have a funny story about that. So we were driving back after the season ended from Rancho to Arizona, and all of us were on the bus together. And so he was actually out of uniform, and everyone was talking about it. It was a big deal seeing Shoe out of uniform, and he mentioned it or something like, hey, like, I'm not wearing uniform today. This is probably the only time you guys will see this. And then our bus broke down on the side of the highway in Arizona, like 120 degrees. And we're all getting off the bus. Like guys are taking their shirts off. It's so hot. We're unloading the bags from the bus to get onto a new bus. And Shoe comes off the bus and he's wearing baseball pants. I don't know when he put them on, but the bus broke down. And I guess he decided he needed baseball pants to fix the problem. I don't know, but that was really funny.
That is absolutely awesome. That's one of the funniest stories of Shoemaker I've ever heard. He's absolutely awesome. He's just a wonderful,
amazing,
perfect guy to have in that spot.
Yeah, super lucky to get to play under him. Great guy.
Hey, Seamus Barrett, what an honor it's been to get to speak with you. I've really enjoyed getting to watch you as you join the Dodgers and follow you there at Loyola Marymount. So, hey, what a wonderful honor this has been for me to get to speak with you. Any final thoughts?
No, nothing. Just thank you so much for having me on, and really appreciate you. And go Dodgers.